You know me, SDMT. Let's get it, baby. But before we do, make sure you hit my like, subscribe, and turn on my notifications, man. Shout out to the gang, man. Shout out to all my young grinders, man. Support the channel that supports your grind, man. Let's get to this topic right here, man. A lot of young athletes ask me this question, so I thought it'd be a great idea for a video to let you guys know in a big stage, you know what I'm saying? So you guys can all click this video when you have this question. Is young athletes love the gloves, you know what I mean? So with the gloves, I get a lot of questions of when should I wear my gloves? Should I wear my gloves at practice? Should I wear them in a game? Should I just go no gloves? You know what I mean? So a lot of athletes have, questions about gloves. I'm gonna give you my point of view and pretty much the best situation to set you up so you can have great hands, especially my young receivers, corners, and running backs. Now, when it comes to gloves, a lot of athletes say here from coaches, don't wear your gloves at practice, just wear them in the game. So you want to learn how to catch, you want to use your hands. So at practice, don't use your gloves, which, you know what I mean? They have a point with that, but I'm gonna give you my take. And then, you know what I mean? You have some athletes that wear their gloves all the time because they want to get used to them, okay? So when it comes down to gloves, you want to make sure that, you definitely get used to them. But at the same time, you want to make sure you have good hands. So my beginners, you want to not use gloves. You know what I mean? Don't use gloves. Practice. But when it comes game time, you know what I mean? That Thursday or Friday before your game on Saturday, or if your game's on Friday, 2 days before your game, start using your gloves. Start getting used to your gloves so you can play in the game. If you just always, practice without gloves and then you throw gloves on, that can throw you off. You know what I mean? Just the feel of them. You know what I mean? Your hands being hot. You know what I mean? The different grips. If you know the size of them, so you want to make sure you have broke the gloves in before you wear them in a game. So at practice, maybe the first 3 days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you go in no gloves. Thursday, Friday before the game, you throw your gloves on. You know what I mean? So you start breaking them in. So the major thing is you do want to make sure you can catch with your hands before you put the gloves on. So if you're a young athlete, you're just starting, you don't really have good catching ability, don't wear gloves. You know what I mean? Train in the hardest situation with your bare hands. Once you get your hands on point, then you add the gloves. Your hands are going to be insane. You know what I'm saying? So that's the proper process to gloves. So as when you have good hands, you still want to make sure you work your hands. So before practice, you know what I mean? And earlier in the week, go no gloves. Before the game, 2-3 days, throw your gloves on. You know what I'm saying? Also, before the game, an hour before the game, 2 hours, you know what I'm saying? How the quarterback's throwing you the ball, catching with your gloves, so you get used to them, okay? So a lot of people ask me this question about gloves. This is my point of view. I don't really like the whole don't use gloves until a game, because a lot of athletes get in games and they're taking the gloves off, so they're throwing them, they're dropping passes and stuff because they're not used to them. You know what I mean? If you're not used to something, it's like wearing your game cleats, wearing some cleats you never wore in a game. You know what I mean? You ain't broke them in. That's going to mess your feet up. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine? So same thing with gloves. You want to break them in, make sure you're used to them, make sure they feel right. So, beginning of the week, no gloves. You know what I mean? When you get closer to game time, put them gloves on. You know what I'm saying? That's going to help you flip a script as well in your head, because you'll be like, man, it's getting close to game. I got my gloves on. And it's going to turn your focus level up. So hopefully this helps, man. Shout out to all my young grinders, man. Thank you for staying locked in. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. And that's a wrap on SDMT.